What is up, YouTube? This is Evan Magician 34. Be sure to subscribe to me and follow me on Twitter. I'm now on Twitter at Evan Magician 34. Simple enough. And I am bringing you my Budget Friday deck, and this is a deck that's going to throw some really unusual things at you. And not only is it going to do that, but this is a good springboard for you to test yourself. We're going to play a very fast deck indeed. Today's Budget Friday is all about Delphox. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar with this Delphox from X and Y, it's 140 HP, it's a stage 2. Let's get the other stuff out of the way first. It's weak to water, has no resistance, retreats for 2. Its Blaze Ball attack is basically a fire-type version of Keldeo EX's attack, where it's 3 colorless for 50 damage, but you get an extra 20 damage off of it for every fire energy attached. So if you put 3 fire energies on the Delphox, it swings for 110. And there's no cap to that, so you can swing for, well, just as much as you can attach energy with. But what's really compelling about Delphox is its ability Mystical Fire, where once per turn, you basically get a free Bianca, where you draw your hand up to 6 cards. So the idea for comboing off of this Delphox, and it's the combo that makes this deck unique, not necessarily the fact that we're running Delphox, but the combo is we're going to play a deck where you puke your hand out just as fast as you can and then Mystical Fire up. In fact, our whole deck is going to be about just cycling through over and over again as fast as we can. And Delphox enables that pretty well. We're going to try to set up multiple Delphoxes, and we have a very unusual approach for doing that. Now, as far as supporting Delphox, we do have one Brixen. We also have rare candies to get up, but we do have one of these because we can search for it with Pokemon search cards. You can run either the promo or this Brixen. It really doesn't matter. I've opted for, it was a close call because I have the same HP. I opted for this Brixen just because if I do end up attacking, I'm probably going to want the ability to control the top cards in my deck in this deck a little bit more than I'll want the better damage output from the promo. But ultimately, it's of course up to you as far as what you think your choice is going to be. Same goes for Fennekin. We're running 3 Fennekins. I've opted for this one mainly because it's a little more accessible to people. This is just the X and Y Fennekin. All the promos are the same, and they have 60 HP, but their attacks are a little slower. So this one puts out a little better damage once again, but the lower HP is a little disturbing. So the 60 HP promo is definitely an acceptable alternative, maybe even preferable. Now, as far as budget, I felt like the best way to combo with Delphox was to run Pyroar. This is the intimidating main Pyroar. He's a little pricey, but he's still a regular rare, so he's not too bad. He's very tradable. If you don't already have them, the set's been out for a while, so I don't think this is out of the realm of possibility. His intimidating main means he takes no damage from your opponent's basic Pokemon. So basically that's good news for you because it blocks all EXs except for the Megas, of course. Makes your opponent's life very difficult. And this card's kind of faded away because of Donphan, but then Donphan's kind of seen a little bit of a lightning in use recently, so maybe a very good time to play Pyroar indeed. Speaking of Pyroar, we also run one Pyroar from Phantom Forces. This guy you don't really want to be attacking with, unlike the other Pyroar. This guy wants to sit on your bench, but you can discard a fire energy off of him to get a Gust of Wind style effect, where you pick one of your opponent's bench Pokemon and bring it up. So that's very good for controlling our opponents by bringing up undesirable Pokemon and or knocking them out. So that's pretty cool there. We've got 3 Litleos for our ultimately 3 Pyroars. I opt for the Combustion Litleo just because it's got 70 HP and it hits the hardest. But any Litleo will really do. And I have one more Pokemon for our total of 14, and that is Charizard EX. Once again, it is an EX, so we're kind of pushing our budget idea, but it's just 1. And this card is actually pretty inexpensive right now, so you should be able to trade for it pretty easily. And he's a nice heavy hitter that our deck really needs, and we only need 1. So I am going to push you to get this. If you don't have it, no big deal. You can sub in something else. Delphox EX is not a bad substitute for it. Or Reshiram EX is another good one. But this guy really is preferable. I'd say Reshiram EX is probably the best substitute. And unlike my usual pattern, this pushes me a little out of my comfort zone. We're only running 8 supporters. 4 of them are Professor Juniper. Just straight draw power. We're trying to rip through our deck as quick as we can, and Juniper is trying to help us set that up. We're running 3 Blacksmith, because we don't mind sending our fire energies away, and this is one of the best ways to take advantage of it. Even though we're going to be cycling our deck back, we're going to be putting it right back in. So we're going to reuse and reuse and reuse our blacksmiths to keep setting things up. We do run our 8th supporters, of course, Lysander's trump card. That's how we don't worry about decking out and whatnot. Now that said, we're going to get to the biggest part of our deck, which is our 26 item cards. Most obviously, we're running 2 rare candies to help get our Delphox set up. And we're going to be drawing quickly, as I say, so 2 is quite enough. We have 3 fiery torches to put our fire energies to use, draw us deeper. And the theme of the deck that's so unusual, but which combos so well with Mystical Fires, we're playing a lot of very powerful cards, which do happen to have one little caveat, and that is that a lot of them require a coin toss. But what we're trying to do here by playing through our deck and resetting it and playing it and drawing it out as quickly as we can is we're trying to beat the law of averages, basically. These coin toss cards, like roller skates, of which we run 4, actually. Sorry, I just picked up the wrong number of them. We run 4. We should get about half of them right. Coin toss, 50-50 chance. So the more times we can play them and reuse them and replay them, the better our ultimate payout will end up being versus our opponents, who are going to be operating at a slightly lower rate of speed. So roller skates draws you lots of cards. We do have 1 bicycle just to help us reset when Delphox isn't around or just in addition to Delphox. We run 2 Ultra Balls mainly just so that we can discard things to the discard pile. More than anything, this is to put fire energies in for our blacksmith. But getting Pokemon is also important, and this is a guaranteed snatch. But what I think is so exciting about this deck is, keeping with that coin toss, we're actually running 2 copies of Pokeball, and I've been dying for a chance to use this card because it's a very powerful effect, but the coin toss is such an absolute thorn in its side. But in this deck, that really doesn't matter nearly as much. You can play them out, and whether or not you get it, the important thing is you're emptying your hand to set up for Delphox and dig deeper into your deck. So we do have 2 Pokeball, which is quite exciting because it's just a fun card that we never really get to play. And this deck actually allows us the opportunity to run it. Now, as far as more reliable, or at least better preferred coin toss cards, I don't know about more reliable, we are running 3 Crushing Hammers, and cycling those around and around and around can be very damaging for quite a few decks out there. And resetting their deck is not as useful for them since they don't draw at the rate we're planning to. So we've got that, and we're also running 3 Pokemon Catchers. Just a little bit more disruption. We can't always count on the extra Pyroar, obviously, or we may not want to discard the fire energies to him. So the Catchers are going to keep us in good control of our opponent's field, hopefully. We're also running 3 Muscle Band. And just slap these down as fast as you can. They're good cards we can just make disappear out of our hand very quickly. If your opponent blows them off with a Starling Megaphone, it's no big deal because you're going to reset it. Speaking of which, Starling Megaphone is kind of a must here. We got to have 1 copy because on the chance we run into Garbodor, he's very dangerous to our strategy. Hence, we need a way to turn him off, and that's what the Megaphone's for. And last but not least, we are running 2 Versus Seeker so that we can discard Lysander's trump card with ease and then just access it later. As long as you have at least 1 Versus Seeker in your deck, or the Lysander's trump card itself, you don't have to fear decking out. Only if all 3 go to the yard do you really have to worry about it. That said, all that's left is our 12 energy. We have 3 double colorless just to kind of make Charizard EX and everybody else kind of attack a little faster. We don't have to have it because we have our blacksmiths, of course. But this is more about speed than anything. And of course, Pyroar really likes double colorless energy. And then we've got 9 fire energy as the remainder of the deck. And remember, we're going to be cycling this around. Trump card's a pretty critical part of the deck. So 9 fire energy. And there you go. I really am going to work with this deck, and I might present a more refined version of it later. But for now, at least, this is my prototype version for your Budget Friday, and I may present you a more cash-invested version of this deck later as well. But this is a very interesting, probably very unique Delphox deck for your Budget Friday. And until next time, like, comment, subscribe, and check out my channel for more Pokemon content.